Hey YouTube, DawesomeWriter here. This is kind of going to be a free-form discussion video on the state of the Sentai franchise going forward, and a little bit like how it could learn from Writer to achieve more success. Just kind of a casual chat, free-form chat about the Freeform Network. Just kidding, not the Freeform Network, although we should talk about that. I'm just kidding again. Where am I going with this, Dawson? You've already lost your audience. I just thought it was an interesting topic to think about as we head into our next Sentai DonBrothers. Now, this is being recorded before we have seen what DonBrothers looks like. And if I'm right about this, this should go up before we see them, hopefully. Sometimes I do these videos too far in advance and I get outpaced. But this is coming out before we've seen DonBrothers, so I want to clarify that, just because a lot of this will be speculation. DonBrothers has brought up some interesting things, because it looks like we might have one of our first Sentai in a long time to have sequel-ish tie-ins to the previous one, which is Zenkaiger, because we're apparently going to have carryover characters like Juran, carryover gimmicks like the Gears, and it seems like just a general carrying over of some of the spirit and concepts of Zenkaiger, with possibly having some all-CG characters similar to the sort of all-costume characters like Zenkaiger. And that made me think about like why Zenkaiger is the way it is, combined with the rumors of Sentai cancellation for years, and why Sentai isn't as successful as Writer and what it can learn from it. First of all, again, let's talk about the Freeform Network. No, I'm just kidding, but let's start with Sentai cancellation. Sentai cancellation rumors have been around since I've been a Sentai fan. Since I started watching Sentai as a wee lad with Geki Ranger, every year there's 3 things you can count on. Rumors of a bug Sentai, rumors of a space Sentai, rumors that Sentai's canceled and being replaced by metal heroes. Those has-beens that keep trying to come back but just can't make it. So that's been a thing forever. However, in recent years, the rumors have gotten more prevalent and a little bit more concrete, as even if you don't buy into the rumors that Sentai's been in trouble, you can notice that the budget's gone down, you have less merchandise, just a little bit less of an overall presence compared to the where it was and the way Writer is. And Zenkaiger kind of punctuated that. Punctuated that because it's so different looking, and there was rumors that the reason it was so different was because it was a combination of either a last-ditch effort, I can't really talk in this one today, guys, a last-ditch effort and maybe a way to test out some new formulas some new formulas to maybe move the franchise forward in some new ways that could generate interest. And, Zenkaiger's different-looking nature definitely seemed to reinforce that. And, I think that sometimes the Sentai cancellation rumors can be exaggerated, but I definitely think there's some truth to that with Zenkaiger. Truth to that. Defender of truth! Anyway, again, I'm weird in this one today, guys. That left a lot of people kind of wary because it is very different looking, although I think the show itself, outside of the aesthetics, is your basic Venge Sentai. There's really not a whole lot different about it. But it's definitely aesthetically very different, a very fun show, free-form and whatnot. And I guess if there's rumors that DonBrothers is going to be continuing some of this over, I guess it's working to a certain degree. I haven't paid attention to the nitty-gritty every single ratings number and toy sale number in years, but sometimes I'll get the general consensus and idea. And for me, I didn't think that Zenkaiger was doing that well, but apparently it's working. It's working! It's working! And that's going to cause them to move forward with that. And I think that's making some people anxious that maybe it will turn into something that looks like Zenkaiger for a few years, because that's what generated some more interest. But I was thinking, is that really the right way to go? And could they be learning something from Writer's success? Because that was something else I've been thinking about even before Zenkaiger's new face arrived on the block. That was a weird way of saying that. Ever since Sentai's been going down, Writer has just been going up. Ever since I got into Writer, it seems like every year it gets more and more successful. It's been known to be the bigger moneymaker for them. As we've gone on, we get more team-up movies, unfortunately. We get more returns movies, more forms, more merchandise, generally more excitement. It's just gotten more mega popular. Like, if this was Sentai and Writer where I started, then as I've continued to watch it over the years, Writer's gotten more and more popular, where Sentai less and less, with less presence. And it's even starting to get a little bit of traction in the US. And I'm curious, okay, so what is it about Writer that's working, that's not working for Sentai, and what could they take from it? Now, I don't want them to become the same show, because Writer did used to have a distinct mood, and now a lot of his aesthetics and vibe is very Sentai-ish compared to the way it used to be. So I don't want to see them become the same show, but I think there could be some practices that they take into account. Now, Sentai, I don't think could automatically start doing more team-up movies and more merchandise, because that would defeat the purpose of trying to make Sentai more financially viable, because if they're having a hard time making money, spending a lot of money on toys and team-up movies wouldn't be the right move. So it can't be that. So what else is Writer doing? And I think it's the storytelling. Rider is a much more serialized and engaging show. And again, I don't want to get too close to the idea of the shows becoming too similar because I do want them to be distinct. And Sentai has always been more episodic. But just because something's always been done that way isn't a good reason to keep doing something. And I think we could find a balance. You know, so much of Sentai is like a lot of Sentais I've seen, you could cut half the show off and then not miss anything because so much of it is like valueless filler. And some people like the filler. Full disclosure, this isn't me being like, oh, you're wrong for liking filler. I'm just saying there's a distinct difference. Whereas with Rider, it can also be very formulaic, that's to be sure, even with its serialized nature ever since Double, with some exceptions. There's a general path that you can sort of chart these shows on. But even with that, with both Sentai and Rider being episodic, Rider is much more engaging. You know, there's much more of a reason to come back each week and become invested, and it's just much more of a, again, engaging show. And I think Sentai could learn from that. Again, don't become Rider, don't try to be Rider, but maybe add in a little bit of that. Maybe calibrate things a little bit and find a happy medium. Make things a little bit more engaging while keeping some of that episodic nature, but just make it more thoroughly engaging and more balanced when engaging. The problem with Sentai is often when they even have ongoing stories is the way that they progress them. Stuff like finding Kaito's mom. It's like we picked up the story, we dropped it off for like 7 episodes, and we finally mentioned it again. One of the ones I think about most is the Juo Bird story and Juoger. I think it was like, 20 episodes before we mentioned it again? Same thing with some of the Loop Hat stories is you'll have a main plot point and then you won't even mention it, to the point where you could like cut out all these 15 episodes and then just watch this one and you wouldn't have missed anything in regards to that story. And it doesn't keep you engaged the way Rider does. And you got to put a ring on that finger. Get it? Because engaged. Anyway, again, weird in this one, guys. My point is I think that it would be interesting to see Sentai maybe take a page from that and balance itself out and become a little bit more serialized, a little bit more engaging, and maybe make it a show that people will become more invested in. Now, the last thing I want to say is something that people might bring up, because I've brought up stuff like that before, and people will say, well, Sentai's geared towards a little bit of a younger audience than Rider, which is true. They're both for a younger audience, but I guess Rider's known for being a little bit of an older audience and Sentai a little bit of a younger audience. I mean, first of all, I hate this idea across what seems all children's medium that kids can't process a storyline. I'm not saying age it up to the maturity level of Rider, but you can do a show that's still aimed at a slightly younger audience than Rider and make it serialized and engaging. Not to mention, I don't know why you wouldn't want to make it more widely accessible. That takes me back to my argument about Power Rangers, about being geared towards this specific age group. I'm like, yeah, you can still target that age group for your audience, but why not make it appealing to more than that age group? So you can grow with the series instead of growing out of it. So that, I just wanted to touch on that because I feel like something people is going to bring up. But what do you guys think? Do you think that Sentai could stand to learn a little bit from the way Rider has made its success? Or how would you like to see Sentai be more successful and make changes? And again, this is just my thoughts. I don't have my finger on the pulse. Obviously, I'm a Western fan, even though I forgot my cowboy hat, so I don't know exactly what works over there and what doesn't. I don't think they should listen to fans, period, but I just wanted to give my thoughts on this. But let me know what you guys think. Until next time, like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps, and ring that bell so you can see my videos. Dawson Rider, signing out.